Hello, Universe Architects. Today, with the reality reboot about 2 weeks away, I wanted to go back and look at my fan projects that I've worked on Scratch over the past couple years. Oh my god, this account's almost 4 years old. So, I've obviously come a long way since then, and I've made a lot of stuff, but recently, I came out with a new version of my event engine, my event template. Oh, I just realized it's not capturing my mouse cursor, but this is fine. And I was thinking, a lot of people will be like, hey, devs, add this event. Hey, devs, add an event about this. And we probably won't get events for a while because the reality boot's going to come out and there's also still beyond content they need to finish and a lot of, mini updates, like, mini expansions to the reality reboot that have been teased. So, I'm like, hey, we can make our own events now. So, I have in the description of this video, I'm going to put a link to the template, or you can also just go to my Solar Singularity account on Scratch. You can go to the Event Template V8 project, and just write remix. I'm remixing my own project here, which is kind of weird. Normally you can't do that, but I do have an add-on that lets me do that. And here we are, Event Template V8 Remix. So, the number one thing you gotta do if you're making an event is figure out what the hell that event is. You can't make an event about something if you don't know what to make an event about. Now, I have some stuff to choose from. I have a folder actually on my computer. If I hide Chrome, bring up I have a list of fan-made content that people have made on Discord. So here is a screenshot where a guy made a virus expansion in the main tree. Very realistic, I will say. Here's a photo I made covering the entire end of time. Here's a photo someone made about a potential pollution event, Christmas event, biomes event. It's definitely very in depth, very high quality. A moon event about the moon. Here's the original inspiration for the electricity event I made, Thunderstruck. And here is the inspiration for the cancel Rise into the Sky event, about the atmosphere. And of course, there's a bunch of other stuff in this folder too. I have, obviously, credits to everyone who made all the stuff in this folder, and a bunch of text documents as well. But let's think. I think I want my event to be about, let's say, health. Because I remember learning in 10th grade about very different areas of health. And I'm thinking I can make a tree similar to like the fungus tree, except instead of spiraling in a circle, it would be like one central node and a bunch branching off of it. Similar to this guy's pollution tree, a central node and a bunch of branches coming off of it. Now, another important part of your event is the name of the event. Now, quite often, some events do have name changes, like Beautiful Complexity, used to be called Crunch the Numbers. The visual art event, oh my god, I already forget what it's called. I forget what the visual art event's called, but I'm pretty sure that one had a name change. Mind Machines, I can't remember if Mind Machines had a different name. Anywho, yeah, some events often have their name changes, like I made the End of Time, then I changed it to Back to the Future when I did the remaster, and then I changed it back to the End of Time because I didn't like it. But if I make a health event about health, I think I'd call it. Actually, I'm not going to give it a name. I'm just going to call it Health Event. Just as a placeholder. Actually, I can full screen this. Now, when you open up the template for the first time, you're going to be on this README sprite, which has a changelog between this version and the most recent version, but we don't need that, along with A note card, me telling you information about stuff. Also, there's this forever stop all, but we don't want that. So it's welcome, anything that has text, for example, let me get an example. If there's a block that's like, oh my god, I'm actually, whoa, lag, holy lag. What the hell's happening? Okay, maybe don't full screen. If there's a block that's like this, that means it's something you need to edit. That means you need to change it. Otherwise, it probably won't work properly. And obviously, refer to my future event project if you have any problems. And there's a chance I forget something, because obviously, I'm not perfect. No one's perfect. And you might not be perfect either. You might do something and your event might not work properly. I might make a remix to your project and fix it. Grammarly, hi. Okay. Okay. That's fine. Hi, Grammarly. Yeah, doesn't mean if I remix your project, doesn't mean you did a bad job, just means something didn't work right. Now, credits to two other people for helping on this, even though I kind of deleted most of the stuff they'd added because I wanted this version to be simpler and not overwhelming. So we can just delete the sprite, because we don't need it. Next we have the abbreviator sprite, which is used to basically make the long numbers not so long, and also in a nice legible format. You shouldn't be changing most of this. There's a list of the first couple abbreviations, and if your numbers get any bigger than this, obviously feel free to expand on it. You do need to change some of these. Obviously, if you have more than 4 generators, you're gonna have to duplicate this. What? Oh, I didn't want to turn that on. You might need to duplicate this if you have more than 4 generators. The music. Now, realistically speaking, if the devs are making an event, music is going to be like the very last thing they add. Realistically speaking, they tend to add the music last. The devs, they just use like the James Webb event music as a placeholder until the event's mostly done, and then they add music. I like to add music first. It gets me into the vibe, but obviously you don't have to. I need to actually remember, do I have music ready for this? I do actually. I do actually have some music. It's not perfect, but it'll do for now. And of course, you need the event stinger as well. The stinger is like the short music effect that plays when you unlock something new for the first time. And then there's the loop that plays in the background. Now, your currency. What is your currency going to be? So if you're making, like, say, like, think to my event about the future, I had the currency be clocks. Some other useful things would just been like time itself. You collect time instead of collecting clocks, which honestly might have been a better idea, but the clock symbolizing time is, I like that. That works fine. Typically, you shouldn't need to change anything in this entire sprite except for this, which would be the icon. Since I don't really know what I want to do, I'm just going to use an apple emoji. Yep, you can use an apple emoji. I know, how cringe. There's also, most sprites will have sounds built into them if they're needed, like the tapping. So you shouldn't need to worry about any of that. The click hint is not required, but is a very nice touch. Most events, they have the tap to earn currency thing on them, so. Also, you should rename this sprite. I'm just gonna call it Apple. But obviously, an event about health as a whole, like mental health, social health, economic health, you probably don't want just apples. So you want to rename this to your currency, in my case, Apple. And this sprite also should not be changed unless you need to move it around. And we'll get to moving things around when we get there. Unlocking. This is like the unlock cutscenes. See, knowledge unlocked thing. Basically most generators and sometimes trophy nodes. So I want to say like knowledge unlocked, mental health. Health. Gotta make sure the text is centered. Rename it. Ooh. Things are very case sensitive sometimes. And then I would add, say, mental health. So that I can unlock mental health when I get the mental health generator, if there is a mental health generator. The pen is used to draw lines between nodes. So we could say draw a line from mental health to, say, I don't know, depression. Or draw a line from economic health to debt. The hex, you shouldn't need to change this. This is just that one GIF that plays at the start of the game, where the dodecahedron spins around. Don't need to worry about it. Don't change anything about this. The thumbnail is the face of your event, the cover. This is what people are going to see when they click on your project. It will represent your event as a whole. So you got to have the title. In my case, it's just health event. Got to have a fancy, smancy looking image. Probably smash multiple images together to design it. And then this isn't required, but I like to put this little label on the bottom to say it's a fan-made event. Next up is the big bad artificial intelligence herself, Semblance. Of course she likes to yap at you at the start and end of every event, and you need to add that to your event too. So, I think it's best to have 3 lines of dialogue, but if you want to have 2 or 4, go ahead and do that. Try not to go any higher or lower than that. I know the James Webb event has 2. A lot of events have 3, like I think Mind Machines, the Cheese one, Beautiful Complexity have 3. The End of Time, my fan-made one, has 4. I don't remember I don't know if Thunderstruck has 3 or 4. But yeah, you best want to go around 3 plus or minus 1. Definitely do not go higher than 4, and don't do 1, maybe? So yeah. But there is a 4th one. If you, for some reason, are crazy and you want a 5th one, you can just duplicate this sprite and add more text. But let's say we don't want 4, we can just use 3. Intro text 1. I'm just going to use placeholder text as the devs tend to do. Health. And go to the next one. Actually, you got to make sure your text is centered. There you go. Health. Health. Ooh, whoa, don't resize that. Don't change the dimensions of the text. That would not be good. And of course, the explore topic, health. Because we are exploring health. Now, the thing is, if you center the text, it's not actually right. You have to press Shift down to move it the proper distance downwards. And now it looks good. The start button is built in for you, so you don't need to change that. And then, of course, there's the outro text. Oh, I didn't change this. This should say the same as the other one did. I don't remember. I don't think the sprite's ever used. You don't need to worry about this one. And of course, there's a blank one where she's not talking. No. That should be good. We actually delete some things that I forgot to delete. The nanobots. The nanobots are here. They are completely functional. You don't need to change them. They're perfectly fine as is. Tooltips. Tooltips are quite complicated and specific. To try and summarize how this works, you have 2 things. We have research, generators, and obviously trophy nodes. You just change the word research right here to trophy. Icon would be the icon for your currency, in this case the Apple emoji. And in this gray text box right here would be the cost. Obviously, you'd rename this to whatever your node was called. If I say debt, something like that. Then I change the label. Debt is boosts, whatever it was. What was it? Economy. I'm just going to call it economy. Spell economy terribly wrong. Say it's, I don't know, 100% boost. Although I will say with the Reality Reboot coming out, they're changing the way boosts work, so it's now like, instead of saying 100% more efficient, you now say like 2x more efficient. Which honestly, I don't know if that's better or worse. It does mess up a lot of old things because 100% isn't 1 times boost, it's a 2 times boost. So if you want to have something that's like 1,000% boost, that's actually a 10, 11 times boost. Yeah. And then more efficient. If you want, for some reason, to do something like less efficient, like the way in the extinction event does, you can do that. And of course the description. Yada yada yada. You get how you. I'm just very picky on the general formatting of this. Ooh, that's that's not normal. And of course, there's also generators too. You have the base cost, description, the image. Yeah. We're almost there. Only 4 sprites left to go. Badges. Most events have 3 badges, but because we're making a mini scratch event, you only get 1. If you're making a really long event, sucks to suck. Figure it out. Your badge doesn't have to be circular, but circles are easiest to work with. You have the name of your badge, say friendship or something. You have the image, and then of course like a 1 or 2 sentence description, because every badge has a description. And then you want to, oh, that's, don't need that. That was some old thing about alpha testing that I forgot to delete. Go to the final node of your event, so we say, I don't know, hugs or something. Final node of your event goes in that box. And none of this code needs to be touched. The glow. You ever seen, like, in the math event or visual art, there's like a little colored gradient effect around each generator. Wow, I really am forgetting a lot of stuff. There's like a colored event around a colored glow around each generator that you need to, that's how you add this. So you'd say, upgrade contains your generator, go to position, the position of your generator, and then you can change the glow to be whatever color you want. But the default is white. Top bar is used for showing how much currency you have. Although I don't think it can register numbers bigger than quintillion right now. Yeah, I will expand upon that. I will add that on. And of course, yeah, so. Sorry, I'm tired. You also have the 2 variations, the normal one where you don't have the badge yet, and of course you put their currency icon up here. And then the one where the exploration is complete, you put the finished badge icon and your currency icon. This is also where you record the record history if you want. You don't need to, but I like to. And of course you need to add your final node name back in here to figure out when to stop counting their timer. Now, the biggest, most important, most complicated part of the entire event is the event itself, the nodes. Previously, in older versions, every node was its original, was its own sprite, which worked fine. But I had complaints though. People be like, "Oh, why did every single node have to be its own sprite? Why can't you just use clones?" And I'm like, "Oh, brother, please do it your own. If you don't like how I do it yourself." But I was thinking about it one day, and it's like, I can kind of do this. Why not? Yeah, I can do this. So, after a couple of hours, I did make a clone-based version, which is still not perfect, but it works. So, you have the name of your node here, our defaults, what type it is, R for research, T for trophy, and G for generator, how much it costs, how much of your currency, its X and Y positions, and what nodes it requires. You can have up to 3. If you have less than 3, just use an underscore in the blank spot. If you want it to be a starting node, don't require anything. If you require 1 node, have 2 underscores. If you require 2 nodes, have 1 underscore. If it requires 3 nodes, so on and so forth. And besides expanding this text box, and besides making more of these blocks, you really shouldn't need to add anything to the sprite. Just kidding, I lied, I was wrong. So, what you do need to add is these here. I'm just gonna move this one away, isolate it. This text box basically is, if you hover over a node, a generator specifically, it'll tell you how much it costs and how much you have of it. Because normally nodes that you only buy once, their price is listed on them, but the price of a generator does not because it's constantly changing. So, we have to say test 1, test 2. We have a 1 generator, 2 generator, the amount it costs, and the amount of it, how much it costs. And, well, we don't actually have a generator right now called test 1. We have just a generator called generator. So let's change this from test 1 to generator. And now we should produce 1 per second. Because in the backdrops, which by the way, this also exists, don't worry, the only thing you need to hear is just to expand this plus plus block over and over again if you add more than 4 generators. And of course there are variables you need to rename, like your currency, say Apple. Rename you to Apple, all caps. The reason there's a capitalized and uncapitalized versions is because of the cache abbreviator. So obviously you need to make your currency per second variables, rename both them, rename your generator and generator cost variables, which will use these. And now that I've gone over all the basics, how everything works, we can actually hit that green flag and actually test out the project. So here's Semblance ready to yap at us about health, and she tells us to explore health. Oh yes, that's a minor bug I forgot to fix. If you have more or less than the default amount, you need to change this number. So whatever sprite your explore one is, which says 4, want this number to equal that. So set that to 4. And now it should work properly. Also, don't forget to regularly save. I'm extremely paranoid of losing my work, so I save way too often. And now we're actually in the event. Unfortunately, our click hint is kind of overlapping with our first node. So, if we want to move this, say, down 100 pixels, we will add negative height to this block. And see, it says tap to earn apple. We tapped it, we earn apple. Simple enough, right? If you're wondering why it just has images here, that is because we haven't added a background. I am once again remembering this is not capturing my mouse cursor, but it's fine. It doesn't need to. We also have our first node here. So I'll actually go into full screen so you can see better. We didn't apply a cost. This does have a cost value of 10, but we never changed the sprite, so it doesn't show that. If you click on it, purchase it, and we no longer have 10. We also have a trophy node, which costs 10, and our generator, which costs 10 as well. Except it doesn't say that because we haven't changed its code. The abbreviator code, I mean. So let's get 10 of our currency. And there we go. We now have 1 of this generator. My mouth is getting very tired from talking for 24 minutes straight, so I'm going to wrap it up there, and definitely make a second episode. If you're interested to see it yourself, please leave a like and subscribe. Bye.